To impeach or not to impeach? Those discussions are rumbling in Congress as allegations potentially tying President Trump to multiple federal crimes mount. He is now confiding to close friends that he is alarmed by the possibility, according to multiple sources. With Democrats poised to take the House in January, could the question of impeachment push to the forefront? Joining me now is Tennessee Congressman Steve Cohen, a leading Democrat on the House Judiciary Committee that heard James Comey's testimony last week. Congressman, will impeachment be front and center in January when the new House is seated?
I don't believe it'll be front and center, as we want to implement certain goals that we have for the American people and they elected us on, which is protecting health care and the Affordable Care Act and pre-existing conditions, which the Republican governors brought a lawsuit that they were successful in Texas to strike down the Affordable Care Act on a temporary basis. At least it'll be appealed, but we want to support giving people with pre-existing conditions health care, working on prescription drug prices, working on the awful ethics that have been going on, or the lack of ethics in Washington, clean up the swamp, and creating jobs through a strong infrastructure bill. Impeachment certainly will be in the mood, and there will be hearings on things like emoluments clause violations, and I'm sure there'll be efforts to get President Trump's taxes, and there will be efforts to protect Special Counsel Mueller, and all those things have to do with impeachment. But the front and burner issues for the Democrats are going to be things that make everyday Americans' lives better for the people.
No, I agree with that. I think that we've got to deal with health care, jobs, infrastructure, but I think we can walk and chew gum at the same time. The question that I raised, well, you were in the Judiciary's Committee's 8 hours with James Comey. He's coming back next week. Have you learned anything that surprised you, and why is he being brought back to the Judiciary Committee?
I don't think we learned anything, and I don't know why he's being brought back. I think the Republicans on the Judiciary Committee, and it's probably the Republicans and most of the Republicans in the House, have an obsession with Hillary Clinton and her emails and trying to find some fault to try to take the focus off of what have been the most horrific actions by the President of the United States and being an unindicted co-conspirator and winning the election by paying hush money and covering it up to Stormy Daniels and Miss August, or whatever month she claimed the prize. And they've trying to take attention away from that and try to say that there's some equal universe with Hillary Clinton. That's been investigated. There's nothing there, and Comey made a point. There was nothing there, and he didn't see any reasonable prosecutor seeing a case, and there wasn't anything there. But they want to continue beating a dead horse, gnawing on the bone that they've been gnawing on for months and months and months, and they seem not to be able to do anything different than that.
You have been, since I've known you throughout your congressional career, very aggressive in fighting on issues like jobs, issues like infrastructure, issues like health care. Yet there's been criticism that Democrats have not been that aggressive. They've not fought. Are we going to see a more aggressive, a party that now has a majority that's really going to fight for the issues that they promised during the midterm elections? Are they going to be more like Steve Cohen?
I think they will be, and Nancy Pelosi is going to be our speaker. She is a strong person, has an agenda that she's advocated for over years for the people. She was responsible for the health care law passing. She was largely responsible for Dodd-Frank passing. She's a liberal. She cares about people. She knows people suffer, and they need help with the SNAP payments, which were in the Farm Bill and in large abundance, that they need help with Head Start. They need help with jobs and job training. And these are all going to be priorities of Nancy Pelosi's leadership in the House. And she's going to make the United States House of Representatives great again.
Well, we see, you know, there's a lot of focus already on 2020, but I went to public schools in Brooklyn. 19 comes before 20. We are going to see some movement toward these issues in 19 in this Congress. Do you believe that, Congressman?
I believe we will. The problem will be in the Senate, I guess. And there are certain places where we'll have some unity, and that's going to be on jobs and on an infrastructure bill. And the trouble's going to be how you pay for it. And Trump has not wanted to come up with a good funding mechanism, but we're going to try to do that. I think he's talked about a 25-cent gasoline tax. That may be necessary. We've not had an increase in the gas tax that basically pays for the roads as a user fee. But I think the Democrats will pass a good agenda. It just depends what Mitch McConnell and the Republicans do. There'll be 48 votes, Democratic votes, and if there are others, but you've got to get the bill to the floor. So Mitch McConnell's a large part of it. He may see the writing on the wall, and the Republicans want to win in 2020 and keep their majority. And what's going to come out from Mueller on Trump is going to make it difficult for the Republicans to maintain their majority in the Senate. It's a bad year for them. A lot of Republicans are up, and some in difficult states, and more is going to come out. I think Robert Mueller has phone conversations taped by Michael Cohen. I think he has other information that's on audio tapes. And I think the American public, even those 35% that are genuflect at the gold faucets of Donald Trump's Trump Tower, will finally say, we've been hoodwinked, and it's been the greatest swindle in the history of the world. And
I'm going to have to leave it there. Interesting. President Trump wants to find a way to pay for the wall, but not for infrastructure. Thank you, Congressman Steve Cohen.
You're welcome, Reverend Al.
My final thoughts. Stay with us.